Hi, I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas, and this is episode 77. Hi, I'm here with a special guest. I have Tracy Baack here. She's filling in for Hillary. So Hillary is on maternity leave, and Tracy's here. So Tracy has published 5 books, and her 6th book, Love and Other Distractions, is releasing April 16th. We've had Tracy on our podcast before twice, so this is the third time.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I'll link those episodes in the show notes. But hi, how are you?
Hi, good. I froze up for a second thinking I needed to come up with a short, quippy intro, but you got it covered for me. Thank
You
you.
can. When Josh was on, he insisted to have his own intro.
Oh, that's right. He said he was like the soccer coach or
hmm
something, right?
Originally, Hillary's idea was we were going to do a different intro every week that was,
hmm
spontaneous and witty and fun. And
You
no.
used to do that.
Yeah, but it was always 2 seconds before we would hit record, and we're like,
Mm.
I don't know what we're saying. And so then we would just be like, hi, I'm
Too much
Hannah.
pressure.
And yeah. Anyway, so we have some questions that some of our listeners submitted. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we are currently reading. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can share what I'm currently reading. I
Okay.
am not reading a lot right now. No, that's not true. Okay, I always have a book that I read with my eyeballs, and then I have an audiobook going, pending that Libby has handed over any of the millions of holds that I have there.
hmm
Then I'm listening to an audiobook. So I am in the middle of the audiobook of that. It's the mystery, the clue mystery one that you recommended. Without a clue? With a clue.
Oh,
Something a clue. The cruise clue one.
hmm
Murder mystery. I'm listening to the audio of that right now. And with my eyeballs, I am still on the Emma M. Lyon journal journey, nearly finished with
Oh,
what has been published. But that's what I have been reading for the past several weeks, is working my way through those because I don't have a lot of time for eyeball reading. So it's taking me a while.
I'm curious how you feel about Without a Clue. Is it too silly for you?
I like it so far. I like the narrator. I've listened to one of the author, Melissa,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
Ferguson. I listened to one other of her books one time, and it's the same narrator. And I want to say it's the same narrator that does Cara
Um,
Bastone. Anyway, the narrator makes it a good experience. It's enjoyable so far. So I don't know. Once I get to the end and find out what happened, then I'll know. I feel like with murder mysteries, it's like you have to get to the end to see whether you like it or not.
that's true.
I'm enjoying the ride right now.
I've seen so many low ratings for that book. That's why I'm kind of
Mm,
surprised. I'm kind of surprised. I think it's just a hit or miss because I do think it's not a thriller. It is not. And
no.
the author herself says it is laugh out loud, funny, which I did not personally think it was funny, but I did think it
Yeah.
was light. It's supposed
Yes.
to be goofy, but not
Yes.
funny. I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably describing that horribly.
No, I agree with you.
Emma M. Lyon, tell me more. How would you summarize this? So summarize this like we're five. What is
Mm.
this series about?
People get real up in arms over this, over like Regency versus Victorian versus historical.
Historical.
I don't know what time period it is. It's
hmm
something,
It's old.
back. It's like the Jane Austen esque type days. Okay. So that time period, whatever label that is. So it's set then. And it's basically the premise is that you're literally reading this girl's journal. So Emma, um, she's a prolific journaler and like writes down like everything that happens in her day, like at the end of each day. And
Mhm.
so like literally the entire books is just her, right? It's like you're reading her journal of how she perceives what happened in her
Mhm.
day and all of the people in her. It's like a very quirky little town, almost like Gilmore Girls Stars Hollow esque, like just this quirky
Mhm.
town with these quirky people, but like set back in Jane Austen days. Um, so yeah, so you're like reading her journal, and essentially what like the characters are very engaging, and very well developed and interesting. And so everybody has it's like a very team, like the whole like Twilight, Team Edward, Team Jacob, or like Team Peeta Team Gale. Like there's different men in her life
Mm-hmm.
that maybe she's going to wind up with, and everybody has their different opinions on. I feel like that's kind of why
Yeah.
there's so much buzz about it, because you can like talk about like whose team you're on and who you're rooting for Emma to get together with. But the whole thing is just like silly and funny and yet they're just very charming. I don't know how else to describe them.
Do they
So
end in cliffhangers, every single one? Or do you end it and you feel okay?
not like a fantasy cliffhanger, but
Mhm.
yes, like they end like each journal I think is supposed to span like 2 or 3 months of her life or
Mhm.
something, and usually something semi-significant happens at the end of the current
Mm.
journal that leaves you like wanting to know what's going to happen. Not like dreadful cliffhanger.
So, will you have to reread these as each
Ugh.
one gets released, or do you feel like you remember enough to
I
keep
think I'll
going?
remember enough. But caveat, the you I think you were the first one that told me this, that
Mm-hmm.
there are like 24 of these planned or something that the author has said.
I researched this.
That's what I should have done before I dove in.
I looked up the most current information about this.
Mm.
Someone asked her this in her website, and they said, "Are you really going to continue this for 17 more years?" So then the answer, she said, she had a lot to say, but she said, yes, the plan is to write 4 more years of Emma's life. Every volume covers 2 months of her life, which means 6 volumes a year. There's a lot of math, okay? But then she
Ugh.
says, the exact number of volumes is yet to be determined because one character is refusing to answer questions that I have, but I'm guessing there will be 22 to 25 volumes in total. As for how long it will take, I have control over a great deal, but I don't have control over everything. Okay, so she plans to write and publish the remaining of the journals over the course of the next 10 years. So it's not like 15 years, it's just 10.
Oh, just dead.
But she said she might need to take a break and write other novels throughout because, she doesn't want to be burned out on Emma for the next decade.
No.
I say all this because I get DMs about this series
Constantly.
anytime I ask for a book recommendation, or even if I don't ask.
Yeah. I understand why. They are addictive books. I mean, once you get the first one is just a lot of setup, so it's not. I mean, it's fine. But once you get rolling, they're addictive. So I understand why people tell you.
This sounds like Throne of Glass, where
Mm.
in
No.
literally no way other than the fact that people are like, "Oh, you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna hate the first three, but don't you worry, keep going."
Don't you worry. The key difference is these are like this big.
That
The
is
book
true.
is like this big. Yeah,
That
these are
is
very
true.
short. Much faster to get into. Yes, I have a lot of feelings about this, Hannah, because I love the books. I have enjoyed them so much. They have literally made me laugh out loud. Like they have these very like poignant moments too, where you just like want to write down something a character said because it just feels really profound. And I think that is like such a skill of her as an author to like have
Yeah,
these like charming, witty, hilarious moments coupled with these like very like I need to write that down and remember it statements.
yeah.
Um but yeah, the timeline, I honestly don't know if I had realized this that I would have started these yet.
And it's picked up by traditional publishing now. So we're starting again at book one.
Okay. This is my best comparison, Hannah, because you know how much I love Taylor Swift. So, do you remember during the Eras tour, the final like leg of the Eras tour, when we were all of the Swifties were clowning for Rep
Mm-hmm.
TV so hard and we were reading into everything. She
Yeah.
came out with a new bodysuit for Reputation and we're all like it's coming. Like every day we're like the Rep TV announcement's coming. And so then you like couldn't enjoy anything. Like anytime she had like a concert, an Eras Tour concert, and brought on a special guest, everyone's like, "No, you're supposed to announce the Rip TV.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about Jack coming on." Um, and I feel that it's that way with the Emma Lyons series. It's like, good for you, Beth, that they got turned into audio. Good for you that they got trad published. But could you just finish them?
It is like The Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole.
Oh, I've heard you talk about those. Yeah.
Same thing. We've been on this journey for years, years waiting, and then she got picked up by traditional publishing and started back book one. And so then
Hmm.
every time there's an announcement, it's like new cover and the covers all look the same. So every time, it's not just me. I've talked to other people about this where you think, "Oh, it's coming."
It's a big announcement.
Yeah, no. Like
Nope,
no, book one
it's
again.
not.
Book one
Yeah.
audio. Book two, no. Buckle in. It's going to be a long ride. It's not coming for a while.
I will say, because these are not like fantasy, I don't think you would have to reread them. Back to like the first question you asked. I don't think I would reread them before the next one
Yeah.
comes out because I think you'll remember enough. But I know lots of people reread them just because they love them so much. But I just don't have enough time, like reading time, to do that. So,
I posted something on Instagram today about this. I was not thinking of this book, but applies to this series that if a book or a series is like overly hyped, and I'm not even saying unjustly hyped, I'm just saying
mm-hmm.
the whole world knows about it. Everybody says you got to do it. I am like, no, no, I don't want it. Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm very critical with books and not even like I rated Pride and Prejudice low. So it's not even that I have an excellent taste. It's flawed, but I if I loved it, then I loved it. If I didn't love it, it's not that it was bad. It's probably
Right.
really good and I'm just not intellectual enough to appreciate it.
There is a cat.
There you
Gotcha.
go.
Only not really. Wait until more of them are out.
I know. I'll come back when I'm in my
20
40s and
years.
we'll try again.
Oh, I literally, when she said that, I was like, I could be a grandmother by the time this series is finished. Except my oldest will be 16 this fall. Like, I could be a grandmother.
No. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Even with a cat, I don't. The cat would have to be the main character.
What are you reading? Wait, right? We're supposed to talk about what you're reading too.
So I have two books that I'm reading. The first book is Love and Other Distractions, by
I didn't
Tracy.
see that.
Now, I want to say it's funny. This is like karma circling to bite me because when I listen to other podcasts and they plug their guest book and they're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's my favorite book." And it's the person that they're talking to. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like it just feels like a butt kiss. And I don't
You're
know.
just saying that.
Yeah, very obnoxious. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Sue me. So I promise this is not that. The timing the timing of me reading Tracy's arc just happened to be the timing that she was coming on the podcast. So I'll say that. And also, I hesitate to even talk about this book because Tracy is like very doesn't want to give away a lot, and the book is not out yet. So
Mm.
I'm not talking about it. I'm
Amazing.
gonna say I loved it, and that's it. And
This is your second time reading it because you read the earliest draft, but
yeah,
it has
so
been much improved since then. So,
and I get like little new things that
mhm.
weren't there. So that's exciting. I always tell Tracy that whenever I read the final copy of her book, it's like I get to see how what changed. I say it's like a baby. I'm like, oh, I'm Auntie Hannah, and I get to see how they grew up, and just weird, too weird. Okay,
No, it's so true though.
so the next book that I'm reading, it's gonna sound weird. So just I already don't want to talk about it. Okay, I'm reading Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Have
Okay.
you heard of this?
I've heard of
I
Clockwork Orange. Not that I know anything about it, but
I don't think that's
that those words sound familiar. So no, you're gonna have to enlighten me. Clockwork Angel.
I've heard of this series before, but I did not know that this is like a huge world. There's so many books. I did not know this until after I started. Yeah, the City of Bones. Have you heard of that? The Mortal
No.
Instruments. Okay, well, I'm just gonna continue.
Is this all fantasy?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's old. 2010. Okay, so
Oh,
Clockwork Angel. Uh,
okay.
there's a 16-year-old. Her name is Tess, and she goes to London to visit her brother. And this time period is 1878. So this is not modern time. Um, so she gets to London and she's immediately kidnapped by these two creepy ladies. They kidnap her and they keep her prisoner, and they tell her that she has this rare ability that allows her to transform into anybody else's body. So like a
Oh,
shapeshifter. But she doesn't know this. Like she just thought she's a normal person. So she escapes and she runs into these two guys. Well, these two guys, they help her escape. And they are shadow hunters. This is all I know. I'm just rambling. I've barely started this book. So, the shadow hunters, from what I gather, they said that the way that there are police officers to protect humans from humans, the shadow hunters protect humans from people with special abilities.
like her.
Yes, but they also said that they are like demon hunters, but not just demon hunters because they said that they're downworlders where there's like warlocks, vampires, the others.
The others lost. Everything circles back to Lost.
I know. So the shadow hunters protect the people from that. And so they rescue her and they have an institution. Sounds like a school. And they're like, okay, we'll help you find your brother and you help us, like you use your powers to help us. That's all I know.
It's gonna go somewhere from here.
I have heard that there's a love triangle, which
Mm.
I love.
Yeah, I say you like those.
I do. And I mean just from like the 10% I've read, it does seem like it's a good versus evil because I was kind of what are you shape-shifting or I don't know. They were talking about and then yeah, talking about demons and you already know. I don't do no demons. I feel like I say that at least once a month on the podcast. But it seems 100% like the demons are bad. And you know, you have the good guys who are getting rid of the demons. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, I think it will be fine.
To be determined. I'm gonna laugh if by the time this comes out, you have already texted me that you've DNF'd this.
Probably. Nothing I ever say ages well. And this is a book one in a trilogy. However, like I said, I went to the library to get the books and
Mhm.
there's like two shelves of books
Like
that
all
look
interconnected.
yes. And
Oh.
I see, this feels like Emma Lyon. I'm like, what journey did I just sign up for? Because it could be really good or it could be just really bad.
It's a gamble. Throw the dice.
It always is for me. I feel like I always pick like these obscure books and then I'm like, why did I do this? But sometimes, sometimes there's a win. So we'll see.
Sometimes find a great one.
Okay, so let's move on to some questions that
Okay.
were submitted. So I told you this earlier. You have a reputation that you keep your cards close and you don't spill all the beans about what's coming with your books or like
Uh-huh.
what you're working on, which I appreciate as a reader because we don't need fake news. So I appreciate that you wait until you know what's going on. And so that's fine. But as the podcaster for the people, I am going to ask the questions and you can either answer them or
Okay.
you can say pass.
Okay.
What do you do when you get a new book idea, but you're in the middle of writing a different book?
Yeah. This happens a lot. I write the idea down in my phone notes app. I have a specific note titled book thoughts that it goes in there. Um, and it's a haphazard mess of I don't even know how many 7 or 8 different ideas right now. Some more
Wow.
fully developed than others. So like as more ideas pop to mind, I'll like go into my phone into the app and like write it down. Or sometimes I will tell you, Hannah, some of the ideas that I have, but not all of them. But yes, that is a hard part of the creative process of like you're like in the middle of a book and something else like an idea
Mm-hmm.
pops to mind, and sometimes my brain like can get hung up on that other idea during like my down creative time, like taking a shower or driving. You know, when your brain is
Mm-hmm.
just wandering. And I'll be like, no, focus on this book that you're supposed to be
Yeah.
writing. Thus far, I have not. abandoned what I'm working on to go do something else. I suppose that could happen at some point. But right now, like at least for the past few books, I actually did for once announce my plan for what I was going to do. Last summer,
Mm-hmm.
I announced that I was going to do Madison's book for Christmas, and then Amaya's book,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sam's book. So I did publicly announce the next 3 books that I was going to be writing.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, you like extra can't get around it, but it's fine because I've been working through those. Yeah, it languishes in my notes app.
And so the ones that are in your notes app, when you're deciding what's next, is it like a mood reader and you go and see which idea you have the most ideas for? How do you determine which one you want to focus on next?
Oh, that's a good question. With the exception of Home Safe getting popped in the middle, like I was like working through series. So like Love
Mm-hmm.
and Other Goals was my first book, and then I wrote my first Christmas book, Saved by Noel, and then circled back to the Love and Other series with Tegan's book. So then in theory, I could have just gone straight to Amaya's book, but I enjoyed having a break. Like when I wrote Saved by Noel in between Love and Other Goals and Love and Other Chances, I felt like it was a good break for my brain to get away from the Love and Other series world
Mm-hmm.
and write something different. And that one's first or single POV. The Love and Other series is just the female point of view. And so I had fun like pivoting and writing a dual POV book. So I felt like I wanted to write something else, but it was too early to write another Christmas book. At that point, I knew that I was going to write Madison's story, but it was like way too early in the year to do Christmas. And I had this baseball romance idea that had percolated in my brain since the previous summer. And so it was a pretty well fleshed out idea. And I felt like it would be good timing to come out in the summer with baseball season and whatnot. So, but then since then, I have been like circling back and doing like the sequel to Joy to Noel, and then, Maya's
Mm-hmm.
book with Love and Other Distractions. Now I'm doing Sam's book. So I've been like going through series. So I haven't hit, I was just thinking the other day, what is going to be my next unrelated, like not in a
Mm-hmm.
series that I currently have.
Sam is in the Home Safe
Yeah,
series.
she was Griffin's younger sister. Hmm.
And then do you have more for the Home Safe series?
I don't know. I have not, I will say I have not fully decided.
Okay.
And this is the other thing. I look around the table, I look around Bookstagram and other like similar authors, like closed door romance world authors. And like so many of them are like, I'm writing this series, it's gonna have 4 books, and
Mm-hmm.
they like tell readers this at the outset. And so like they have a whole clear plan of
Mm-hmm.
this is the series that I'm writing next. It's gonna have X amount of books. And they have like a whole long-term plan. That has not been the case for me. Like with the exception of the Love and Other series, when I finished that, I obviously knew that I was going to do Tegan and Amaya's books. But like with Saved by Noel, I wrote that intending it to be a standalone. With Home Safe, I started it thinking it was just going to be a standalone, but then I just write these side characters that I just get
Mm-hmm.
so attached to that feel like they need their own story. So, it could happen again as I am writing Sam's book. So, to be determined.
I mean, when
I don't
I
know.
read Home Safe, I remember I was like, Sam getting a book because, yeah, sometimes you just get the
She's so
vibe.
fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
She needs one.
And then that's a question too. Like, so in your phone notes and the stories, technically, could you connect any of them, or do you feel like they're all their own individual story? You know what I mean? Because you're right, a lot of authors do announcements like how you did with the Love and Other series where it's like the 3
Yes.
friends, so you would
Yep.
be like, okay, or it'll be like 3 brothers or whatever.
Yes. Yes. That's right. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I'm like, are all of your ideas all individual universe ideas, or do you feel like you like would do have you ever had like multiple ideas and you like put them in the same universe? I
Hmm.
guess you haven't had that yet because you've
I
had
haven't. Yeah, I haven't like stuck any of my current series
hmm.
in the same world together, but I mean, I probably could. I don't know. My 2 ideas that are completely unrelated to anything that I have been writing that are the most fully fleshed out ideas would not be related to each other or to anything else. But some of the others that are like less fully developed, I probably could write them together if I wanted to. I don't know. Yeah, that's possible. I could write one and then like make the side character for something else. I don't know.
Love and Other series has faith elements, faith themes,
Hmm.
and Home Safe, and I guess all the rest.
Yeah, the Christmas and Home Safe. Do not. Yeah.
So when you're thinking of ideas, is that something that is in your notes of like, well, this book could have it or that one couldn't? Like, how do you decide which books you've done that with?
Not very methodically. It's just kind of happened. I mean, the Love and Other series, that's what I started with. You know, Love and Other Girls was my debut. Um, and I mean, it had the faith themes in it. And it was very like it's not Kyle in my it is not Kyle in my story at all.
Right.
But it's reminiscent of our story in that we met in college through a campus ministry. We dated our senior year. So in some ways, I felt like writing Love of Their Goals was like me bringing my college experience to life, which
Mm-hmm.
included my faith journey, like being very prevalent. So it was a very natural thing in that series to include. But I haven't decided like for future books if like what or when others would have, like, I know some people really love the faith themes and want to see more of those. I know other people who don't like them and don't want to see them. I probably am doing this all wrong by not having focus niche, but I'm an Enneagram 8 and you can't tell me what to do. So I just do what I want.
I mean, I support it. I enjoy both, and I do see what you're saying too, because the Love and Other series has the foundation for it to work because
Yes.
they do have that campus ministry,
Yeah, that was their connection
right?
point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it made sense. When people ask which one should I start with, I really feel like at this point I know them all well enough that I can figure out which one a person should start with. If someone is listening and you're like, which one should I start with? Go find me on Instagram because I can
Yeah.
tell you. I know. Ask me a few questions, I'll tell you which one. Okay, now this question I did get several times. Are you planning to turn your books into audio?
Okay, here's what I will say about that. I'm not going to directly answer that question, but I will say they are a priority to me. Because I listen to a lot of audiobooks now. I
Mm.
never used to. I did not listen to a single audiobook prior to becoming an author. But now I have so little time to sit down and read a physical book or Kindle book, because so much of my time is spent writing. Um, the audiobooks has become what I rely on to like still keep reading. So I know that like there are so many books that like I know I won't get to it if there's not an audio
Hmm.
version available because I just don't have enough time. And I know that there's more and more people that are like that audio is becoming, they listen to it while they're driving or while they're
Hmm.
doing dishes or whatever. So I see it as helpful for readers to have them available as audio. What readers probably don't understand is that the audiobook process is a completely different process than the physical book publishing process. It's like you make so many decisions as an independent author to publish your physical books. Audiobooks is like a whole new can of worms of decisions of deciding if you're going to try and pursue doing it through a production company, which that in and of itself, like some production companies are open to, you like querying to do it, and other production companies like only want to like they like reach out to you if they're interested in
Hmm.
producing your audiobooks. Obviously with a production company, the upfront cost for an author is less, but you're also signing your rights
Hmm.
away to that audiobook, which a lot of people don't love. I don't love that idea. So I mean, it's the same as a trad versus indie. It's like you maintain all the control, but you have all the cost
Hmm.
on the independent side. And so you can just independently hire narrators who narrate and edit the audiobook and give you the audiobook file that you own. And then you are responsible for going and putting it on whatever platforms you want to do, which is obviously more expensive because audiobook narrators spend a lot of time, like it takes them a lot of time to research and narrate and edit, and they deserve to be well compensated for their time. So it's very expensive.
Hmm.
Um, and if you haven't made any audiobooks yet, like myself, if you're a newer author who has books out, but you have not taken that plunge into audio, it is definitely hard to know, like, okay, how successful is this going to be? At what point am I going to break even on the cost that I sunk into creating
Hmm.
this if you're doing it yourself? So it's just this whole like mess of thoughts and decisions.
And you are your own team because you're indie. So the
Yeah.
more time you're spending on that is less time you're working on, your next book.
Yep. Which I mean, honestly, is why I haven't done it yet. I mean, right after I published Love and Other Goals, I went down a rabbit hole of investigating audiobooks because I was like, oh, I'd love to have it as an audiobook. But at that point, Kyle, my husband, is like my business guru. So we were just discussing things, and he's like, you need to just focus on getting the next book out and building a backlist that
Hmm.
is making enough income that then you can turn around and invest in the audiobook production and whatnot. So yeah, it's a whole separate process, and I'll just say that I have been tackling all of those questions. So it is a priority to me.
Okay, moving to the next one. There are several different questions about ARCs, advanced reader copies. I won't go so far into it because I will never shut up and I'll be too sassy. So we're gonna keep it easy. Um,
Medium sassy.
so you've been doing some reels on your Instagram. Are you only doing the two that you released about ARCs, about authors and readers, or is there more coming?
Well, there was three. There was the one to authors, then there was one to readers explaining why it is stressful, and then there was one telling readers
Yes.
a couple of things not to do.
Okay. So if there was one piece of advice that you could give to authors, what would it be regarding ARCs?
My piece of advice to authors.
Yeah.
Can I do two pieces of
Yeah,
advice?
sure.
Okay, one's practical and one is attitude. One practical piece of advice: have someone else do your arcs. That
Mm-hmm.
has been the best. Like whether it's a PR company, like my personal assistant did it for my past several books, and now she and her friend Lauren have a PR company, Happily Ever Reader Services. So now I'm going through them because they're like a tag team now. But having a third party do your arcs, I feel like takes a lot of stress off your plate, but it also provides that filter between you and the arc readers. So like, because I see arc readers post questions on bookstagram a lot of like, oh, if I'm really not liking an arc and I want a DNF, like should I message the author and let them know or not? And
Mm-hmm.
I always say, like, if they have a third party, doing them, message that person. Like, because no author, when their arcs are
Yeah.
going out, wants to get a bunch of messages
Mm-hmm.
saying, I'm sorry, I DNF'd your book, And I know that readers are not wanting to have like a black mark against them as far as like, oh, they didn't ever review my book, even though I gave them an arc. But it doesn't feel good to get messages like that. So having that like filter between you to have some that the readers have someone they can feel confident like going to with questions, technical questions even, or being like, hey, this book was not my cup of tea, I am going to DNF, and then the author doesn't have to be one to hear about that. So that's practical. I think attitude wise, just don't get up on your high horse with your arcs. Like don't be asking readers to do astronomical amounts of things. Like that's not. And I think this is where the indie author world has made arcs get a little convoluted, because when it was just traditional publishers, it was like all through NetGalley or through,
Mm-hmm.
PR packages and stuff. With the independent side being more direct with the author, I think a lot of authors have confused arc teams with street teams and think that like arc readers should be like posting 5 posts about their book and sharing all this stuff and hyping it up and trying
Mm-hmm.
to tell them to only post 4 or 5 star reviews or whatnot, and that's not what an arc reader's purpose is intended to be. Like they're supposed to just get the copy and review it honestly. So just don't place a lot of demands on your arc readers. I mean, we like with my arcs, I try and be very upfront with what like our preferred expectations are. Like the arcs go out like 2 weeks before publishing, and then we request that people leave a review within 3 weeks after the release date. So it's like a 5 week window or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then we give optional other things that if people want to participate in extra stuff, they can, but it's not like an expectation. So just lower the expectations that you're placing on readers. It's probably the best way to sum that up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an author, but I agree with all of those things. As a reader, I don't get a ton of arcs. I don't request a lot at this point because we all know I'm so picky. I'm sorry.
You have a reputation.
I do. I have such a reputation of just being difficult, and I know. I don't seek out a lot of them at this point, but whenever I do, I don't go for them if they have like no in between person, and if it's just the author giving them directly, I'm much more hesitant because of that reason.
Mm.
It's just awkward for everybody. And then also a lot of authors, not a lot. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
We'll see what stays in this episode. It's really awkward as a reader whenever, you know, you have that direct, you're getting it from the author, then they follow your Instagram and like you know they're watching,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know they're liking all your stories, like they're waiting for you to review it.
Yeah.
And it's very uncomfortable.
I understand that. Well, and I mean, like, there's bookstagrammers that I follow. So if they post something in their story and don't hide me from it, then I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
like I might see it depending on what the algorithm decides to show me. But to
Yeah.
me, and if people tag me in review posts on Instagram, then obviously I see those.
Yeah. No.
Readers should know by now, don't tag authors in negative reviews. But I see those. But for me, like since my first book, I do not go to Goodreads and read reviews. Like
Yeah.
I feel like after I've given it to the ARC readers, obviously the hope is that they're going to review it on Amazon and Goodreads. And of course you hope that they're going to like it and leave a
Mm-hmm.
positive review. And that's the whole idea, is to generate the buzz and to have some reviews so that when, it releases, there's, reviews there for people to see. But in my mind, I'm like, once I have sent it to the reader, the Goodreads review is for other readers. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's for other readers to figure out if they're going to like this book or not. It's
Mm-hmm.
not for me to go and read and see what people
Yeah.
said. And maybe that's just me.
So I've seen a lot of authors that are very active on Goodreads, which again makes me uncomfortable. Like Bookstagram, or even I'm not on TikTok, but the other, YouTube or whatever, I
Mhm.
can see how it's a gray area where Goodreads is very much, I would say, for readers. You're
Yeah.
reviewing and it's for readers to go see if whatever the average rating, whatever you're looking for. But like Bookstagram, I can see how that's a gray area because it's so, cohabitated by
Yes.
readers and authors. And then you
Mhm.
have the mixture of the authors who are readers too, and that's a whole thing, whether they're reviewing books and
Whole other conversation.
yes, but everybody's, in this big pool. And so
Mhm.
then it's hard for me, and my approach with my book account has always from day one been, I would say what I put out is for a reader. But the
Yeah.
content that I put book reviews or my weekend
Mhm.
book chat, it's not really geared for authors to,
Mhm.
it's just not. And I'm so happy and thankful. I have so many author friends who like to be around and they like to see my weekend book chat, and that makes me happy. Because of course, like they're welcome to be there. But primarily my perspective and what I'm saying, it's me as a reader speaking to
Mhm.
other readers. I can see how it's uncomfortable sometimes. So it's tough. That's also, I think, why, yes, you have to be honest in your reviews, but you do have to be kind and you do have to be
Yeah.
mindful. I know for me, I think that every time I'm like, what would I feel if the author sees it? And yes, very uncomfortable sometimes. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, I try to at least hopefully have not been completely disrespectful,
Mhm.
for their art. Okay, so what would your advice be for a reader, an ARC reader? Would it be not to tag authors? Do you feel like that's the biggest red flag in the ARC?
Tagging authors in negative
In
reviews?
bad reviews, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Don't stop it. If you're still doing that, don't do that. Well, and it's hard too because sometimes people, and again, this is where it gets really murky, and it is great because I do strongly, passionately believe that readers should be honest in their reviews because it is helping other readers know whether they're going to like your book,
Mhm,
which helps your book find the right readers. And
mhm,
sometimes a bad review helps
mhm.
someone know, like, oh, they didn't like it because of this thing. I actually like that thing, so I'll
Yeah,
probably like this book. And so
mhm.
bad reviews serve a purpose, even
Yeah,
for authors. um so I think that readers should absolutely be honest. But if you're tagging the author, And even if like the review is mostly glowing, but you add like, there was this one thing that I really didn't
Mm-hmm.
like, then that's like just kind of this, and that's where we just as authors have to have thick skin and not, not take everything so personally.
I mean, for me, I don't tag ever.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you, that you
No, an
don't. Yeah.
author will not ever be tagged. The only time I think I've ever tagged authors is if I have done the book aesthetic reels where it has just
Yes.
pictures. Then I would tag the author. Those were books that I was obsessed about. And,
Mhm.
but even then it's risky because then you can still have people coming in the comment section saying, I didn't like this book. And
Yeah.
the author's going to get notified. So for me, I don't tag authors at all. But I also do. I've been recently trying more to DM an author. If I did love their book and I'm talking
Mm.
about it all the time, then I do try to DM them and be like, "Oh, I really liked your book."
I mean, in general, I like being tagged in reviews, when they're positive, because like I mean, of course we love positive feedback, but to me, like, I think it's really fun to see what people loved about it. Like
Mhm.
because different things stand out to different people, and maybe something that I included that I liked, obviously I wrote it, but wasn't necessarily like deeply meaningful to me will stand out
Mhm.
to another reader. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love, seeing that. Or I mean, there are so many readers and bookstagrammers who are way more creative and artistic than I am, that make like these
Mhm.
beautiful edits and posts, and I just like I save all of those, and then when I just want to, I just go back and flip through them because they're so beautiful.
Okay, let's see. What was a recent 5-star book for you?
Okay, I will say let's just circle back to the Emma Lyon series. We'll say specifically Emma Lyon Volume 5. Ah, I loved I loved Volume 5 so much. I loved it. I made a whole Instagram. I don't normally post about what I'm reading on Instagram because that just feels like dangerous territory to me.
Mhm.
It's because if I wind up not liking a book, I don't want to
Mhm.
have posted about it and then have not liked it. And also as an author, like and maybe this is just in my convoluted brain, but I'm like, if I post about a book that I'm reading and then I wind up not liking it, I don't want a reader to think like, oh, she liked that book, it must be like her books. I don't know.
Mm,
These are the weird thoughts that I get in my head.
that makes sense.
Also, I'm like, if I'm reading a traditionally published book, are people going to be like, well, she's an indie author, why isn't she supporting indie authors? I don't know. I get very in my head about it, so I don't like sharing what I'm reading on Instagram, but I made an exception for Emma Lyon. But so volume 5 of Emma Lyon was definitely a 5-star read for me. I loved it so much.
Okay, and then a book that you're excited about. You're like Emma Lyon,
Emma
volume
Lyon,
10.
volumes 9 through 24 next year. What am I excited for? I don't even know.
While you look that up, I'm gonna add in that I don't like saying what I'm currently reading either, which this podcast, we've been doing that, and I'm
It
like,
doesn't age well.
yeah, because even as soon as I click currently reading on Goodreads, I will see a handful of people add it to their TBR, and I'm
Mhm.
like, no, back up. I did not say anything good about
I
it. I
didn't
just
say
said I'm reading it. Don't
yeah.
get excited.
Oh, I don't even want to answer this question, because even as I look through of like what I'm like
Mm,
anticipating reading, I'm like, what if I wind up hating it? And then
okay.
I said I was gonna read it. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, I tried, guys. I tried. So, a book that I'm excited about, I don't have, I'm judging you, and I'm like, I don't have one. So last week I said that I am trying to find, like, I'm going down the journey of the
The
non-explicit.
romantasy journey.
Yes, so I decided at the end of every episode, at least while Hillary's gone, well, she'll come back and be like, "What have you done?" Because I'll just be like doing this
This
whole,
podcast fell apart.
yeah. So I'm
You
sharing.
brought Tracy on and everything just is in shambles.
So I'm gonna share some updates at the end of every episode, but they're gonna have to
I
be
want to hear
quick,
it.
very quick. I had a DNF, Dreams and Dragon Wings. Guys, it just wasn't working for me. And it's worked for a lot of people. It was not working for me. A Thieving Curse by Selena Gonzalez. I did think this was fine. This was a Beauty and the Beast retelling and standalone, which is kind of rare, I feel like, for fantasy. So
That's true.
I appreciated that it was standalone, and it connects. So they're interconnected. So like if I want to
Okay.
continue, the stories go on. I thought this was good. I it was fine. It was fine. And then I tried The Huntress by Carrie Cotton. This one's really popular. Like this one's
I feel
very,
like
very
I've seen that
popular.
one
It's
around.
yes. And here's the thing. I see a lot of this on fantasy recommendations. This is not fantasy. I don't
Oh,
know if
how would you classify it?
medieval Christian fiction. And
Oh,
the
okay.
author does not say it's fantasy either. So it is like readers. I'm like,
Mm.
get it together, readers.
We need some definitions. Common language.
So this book, I think that this was good. I think that I was not the right reader for it because
Target
the
audience.
yes, it had like Scottish dialect. Hillary said
Mm.
it's like Outlander. I've not read Outlander, but
I can either.
it's written like Dunna, Dunna.
Uh-huh.
Like so everything is
Yes.
spelled out like that. So that's again a me problem because I just had
Mhm.
like the hardest time dialing in on what they're saying and like
Yes.
dense, very
Yes.
dense.
Well, I think that reminds me, it sounds like I read the Nicole Van,
Mm-hmm.
like the love
Yes.
practically and adjacent and whatever. But I listened to the audio and I remember thinking, I feel like I would have gotten really bogged down if I was eyeball reading this because the audio, it's just them talking,
Yes.
but like not like you said, like the spelled out dialect.
And that's part of the journey too, because like I was reading it with my eyeballs and just having a really hard time. Also, I've been very sick, so that's probably
Yes.
part of it. That so
Hmm.
take it all with a grain of salt. And then I switched to audio while I was eyeball reading it because of that reason, because I was like,
Oh,
I'm like, what are they saying? Like I'm trying to really understand what they're saying. I should be embarrassed by this. Anyway, I did not think it was bad. I thought that this was good. And I even questioned, would I read more? Because this one, again, interconnected standalone. So you can
oh, okay.
stop, you can keep going, whatever. I would consider reading more, especially now that I know the
Mhm.
vocabulary and the way that they speak.
Yeah.
I would just have to be, I think, like in the mood for that.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's the short version. Guys, if you want further details on any of these books, you can find me at Hannah Reads on Instagram. And you can find our podcast at Don't You Two Read Podcast. And you can follow Hillary. She's on maternity leave, but she seems like she's still reading a lot based on what she's been posting. So you can follow her at Hillary Reads. And Tracy, where can we find you?
My Instagram handle is author Tracy Baack. Baack spelled with two A's, Baack. Makes no sense. That's where I am.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to tell us? Any other secrets before you?
Any other secrets to spill? I know. I have been in the middle of drafting Sam's book and then I'm like, man, I have not like I've reached the end of all of the secrets that I spilled. Like people knew that I
Yeah.
was going to write this and now I'm writing it. So I'm
Now
like,
you
"Oh,
reel us all back in
am
because
I
you're
going to be
like,
secretive again or am I
yeah,
going
and
to
I guess I'll say it here again. Love and Other Distractions is book
Yes.
3 in the series. It comes out April 16th. You can start at book 1. Love and
Yes.
Other Goals, Love and Other
Yes.
Chances is book 2. Just you
Yes.
have to you have time. Catch up.
You've got time. You really will enjoy the last one more if you've read. I mean, I tried it as a standalone that people could enjoy on its own, but it's going to be so much better if you have met the characters before in the other books.
Yes. And I liked it. I liked it enough that I was excited to read it again. I think you guys are going to like it, and I hope that you check it out. I'll link it, and I'll link Tracy's account and everything in the show notes. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Follow our Instagram for the schedule updates for what's coming next. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.